Hi everybody, this is Allison with All One Sun. And All One Sun community is a community for us as enlightened souls to get together and share our experience and share our awakening experience, and so that we can actually just kind of bounce back with each other and grow and learn and evolve together. Now, this topic, which is part two of and this is part two of keeping your frequency during all this mad mess. Okay, so I went over what this mad mess was in part one. In part one, I explained to you what is actually this mad mess is, and this is the purification. Okay. Now, again, I've said to each and every one of you that not each of you, but I've said to all of you in the last video that everybody is going to interpret what they get, the messages that they're getting, differently. I mean, they may, how should I put it? They may interpret it different, and this is why in my communication, whatever you want to call it, your higher self, your a contactee type thing, telepathy, God, higher self, whatever you want to call it, it's all just really the same thing. So the thing is that you're getting these messages, and whether it's your higher soul that is that just knows everything that's going on, and it's helping you to go along and to learn and to grow and to be enlightened and to get back where you actually need to be. Okay, and I went through the whole thing that that the way it was explained to me, which is a very childlike way, it's kind of in a story that just said that this is secular. That the hurt goes around into this the cycle for like every 7,000 years. Just to touch on that very briefly, every 7,000 years. So it's kind of like when the wife, you have a wife and husband. The wife says, okay, to the husband, go out and play. But when it's time for you to come back, you better be clean. You need to clean up yourself, clean up your act. So the husband goes out. This is the masculine. Okay, goes out, play. Starts off nice, but he goes out and plays and then raise havoc, and especially when it's time for him to come home, it's like, man, I'm gonna have a lot of fun, and he just raised like a whole bunch of havoc, and then when it's time, he's like, okay. But that person, that husband, if you want to put it, it's us, okay, coming back home to the feminine. It's all of us, all one sun, or all one. And our feminine and masculine are here to experience, and we when we're coming back around, we gotta clean up our act, okay? And and there's so much more to this. It's so deep. It's for us, it's deep because our mind can't really comprehend a lot of the things that's actually going on, but it's actually so much more deeper than that. But I'm going to keep it in regard to what's going on with this particular topic right now. Okay, so just to touch on that very briefly, that we know that we're going through a purification. The Mayans talked about it, which I believe a lot of people kind of like, or we were just fed misinformation in regard to what the Mayan calendar was about, was actually that purification. And listen, if you really, the all of it, the signs are all there, because every ancestors or these people talk about this. They're all looking up in the skies, because this is what they're looking for, the signs of when the purification period is actually getting time to wrap up. So right now, us, as I said before in the last video, this is the hottest spot in the universe right now, is planet Earth. Things are happening, so here we are. Now, for us to actually go ahead and keep our vibration up, this is what I wanted the second part to be about, so that I don't have to do a third one. So I'm going to jump into it right now. And but before I do that, I want to just go through something that I think is very important. We have to think of ourselves as a tree of life, which we are. Tree of life, okay? And, oh gosh, there we go. I just got something. But anyway, so we're the tree of life. And as I was looking up some stuff on the tree of life, I ran up on something that actually I love the way that they talked about it. And they talked about the tree as the root. And you know, I've heard people who said, you know, you got to get grounded. You got to get grounded. Okay, what is, you know, and so you hear them say, well, what is your grounded? What's getting grounded? But I like to call it getting rooted. And so your root is developing your spirituality, getting rooted in your spirituality. And now it's like, how do I get rooted in my spirituality? How do I do that? Okay, well, then you have the trunk. Your trunk is your foundation. I wish I remember where I actually found it so I can make a reference to them. I forgot what it was, but anyway, so your trunk is your foundation. You have the root, that is, you're getting rooted, your food, and you developed your foundation. As you develop your foundation, you have that your branches are the strength from that foundation that goes to your leaves, which actually now bring forth your fruit. Your fruit is everything that you are, your character, you know, your love, which that's what it should bring forth. But whatever it is that your root is feeding on, whatever it is that your root is feeding on, is going to be your trunk, your foundation. And whatever your foundation is where you're going to get your strength from, which is what the fruit is that you're going to bring forth. So if you're actually feeding on fear, hate, all of this stuff, that is what you're going to bring forth. Now, if you're feeding on stuff that are love, happiness, joy, giving, that is what you're going to bring forth. Whatever, and there's only two main emotions that are here, that's in this, you know, in this world. There is the rule energy of love, and then there is fear. So if you're hating, you're in fear. Okay? Okay, so that is the way, if you think about that as a solid foundation of how you should build your foundation. Now, what do we do? What do we do to get rooted? What do we do to get that that foundation, and to build that strength, and to develop that fruit? Because the spiritual people, that's really where we're getting back to. We're getting back to being truly who we are, which is love, the feminine vibration, which is love, the power, the source of all things that gives life to everything, whether you want to believe it or not. Okay, so here we go. What are we doing to develop that? I believe in meditation is so good in so many ways. I don't even have time to even go through all the benefits and all the things that you actually get from meditating. But meditation is really good, and I want to go through them because I want to fill all of it right now in one time. So drinking lots of water. Water is like our conduit. That's who we are. Everything around us really we're in a big fishbowl, okay? I mean, I know some people shy away from the Bible and talk about, you know, and shy away from the Bible, and but I don't. Okay, there's a lot of good information in the Bible, regardless of how much it's been manipulated. There's still a lot of really good information in the Bible. So I have to remember where this camera is on this. But water, all around us, there's water. I mean, the Bible said that there's the feminine, you know, that it's if you want to believe in the flat world and that we're in a bubble, whatever. But everything is water, except for the earth. But I mean, that's also a form of. But if the frequencies makes it the density of what it is, and that's another story. But in any case, so we need to feed ourselves water, a lot of water, good information, what we're watching, what we're feeding our ears, music, all of that. So TV, gotta cut out the TV. All right, and if you do, minimize it. Don't feed yourself a whole bunch. And watch the programs, like maybe if you want to watch news or something like that. Even this public, what do you call it there? The internet, you know, social media. That was one of my things. Once I never used to actually do social media, and then I started to do it, and I got hooked. I was like, fresh meat, and they just came, and I got kind of hooked, and you know, but now I've just really backed off, just like how I backed off on TV. I'm backing off when I come on here to do what I have to do, and then I go. I know, and I don't sit around here and then skim through as much as I mean, I check in and that's it. But I really don't spend a lot of time, and I'm actually trying to go through this. Okay, exercise. Any way that you can get your exercise. Mine is walking, and to me, that's actually a form of my meditation as well, is actually doing walking and sitting down and, you know, doing, it's not the only form of meditation that's out there. It really isn't. So, I have to remember the cameras. So, walking, whatever exercise, dancing, whatever works for you, even if it's just stretching, movement. Movement is very, very good. Love, everything. Energy is movement, so we have to move. And of course, in this society, we sit a lot. We sit at our desk. I've been sitting a lot too, so I really got to get moving. So I said, so I'm guilty of all that. And I do walk, but I feel like it's pressing on me that I actually need to do a little bit more than just walking because, anyway, so again, I went through limit the Wi-Fi, keep focus, get in discipline. It's very, very, very important for us to do that. And what I mean by that, your focus is going to be very, very important. There is a method, there is actually a few of them, that if you actually pick a spot, a little spot or whatever, and just look at it, and just look at it. There's ways to actually develop being focused. That is one way that I know. There are a few others, but you may want to look that up. But that is one way of developing your focus. And actually, when you're meditating, just look in the center of your third eye area and just focus on that spot. And that should actually help you to just keep in focus. If you notice that even sometimes when you meditate, depends on how new you are in your meditation, your mind just drift. Okay, and that's okay too, depending on what type of meditation you're actually practicing or doing. So anyway, people, places, and things. People, places, and things. That is very important. The people that comes into our life. Now there are people that are going to come into our life just for a brief moment, that are going to teach us stuff, that are going to help us out in certain ways. Sure, do it. Let them go, and don't keep them, and just let it go. Once you keep people over the time period that they're supposed to be in your life, it becomes really bad. So, because it's kind of like this, the anointment on that is worn off, so it's gone. So anyway, so people, places, and places. And if you're going to places that are not actually feeding and building your spirituality, like nightclubs or anything, I'm just giving that as an example, then that is probably not the best thing for you to be doing. Okay, going to the bars, it's probably not the best thing for you to be doing. So people, places, and things. Your things like, I don't know, TV, things. You're eating. Eating is also the other thing. Eating what you eat. Now, eating, you don't have to be a vegan right now. You don't have to jump and say, okay, I need to be a vegan, because that's one way to build my spirituality up. I've heard people say, okay, I gotta be I want to be a vegan. I know it's good for me, and I always tell people, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Wait until your spirit pushes you, nudges you in that way, and it's time, because it's one step at a time. That is one thing I noticed with my spirituality when I was reawakening, remembering. I like to call it remembering, or even reawakening. So is because I've always been like a vegan. Or actually a vegetarian, and then vegan, and then I vegan, and vegetarian, and then vegan, and then the last time I was vegan, and then I started eating a whole bunch of stuff again, and then it took a while for me to actually break off of that and again became a vegetarian. But anyway, let me get back to the topic here. So I always tell people, no, wait until your spirit is actually nudging you and telling you this is what you have to do. And with anything else, don't really push it or rush it ahead of time, because you're just going to make yourself really miserable, frustrated, and actually want to give up. So you really have to just really get in tune. And everything that I'm telling you, I'm basing it out of my experience, and I'm sharing it with you and hoping that this is going to help you in whatever struggles that you're actually going through. And the thing is that in this purification, the reason why a lot of people are actually going nuts is because they're not prepared. They're not prepared. This judgment day, or a lot of people are talking about this thing, apocalyptic or whatever you want to call it, that we're going to. It is people. It's about people not being prepared. The whole thing about the bridesmaid, that stuff is real. That's what that it's about. It's about being prepared. Being prepared for when it's time to get back to being Christ-like. Christ-like is all it's a mental state of being. And, so when I was actually talking about focusing is kind of like Gandhi. Or it's the first person that comes to mind right now. Because when we're living in this, because it says separate yourself from the world, but we have to be in it, but in a sense, but we have to separate ourselves. So we have to get rooted, really rooted, grounded. We've got to have that strong foundation for us to walk through this world without being shaken, okay, and knock off of our foundation. The man who built his house, okay, that house is you, your temple. Build in your house. And if you're not on a very good foundation, you're gonna. So Gandhi. What I was saying about Gandhi is that he has such a foundation where, he was actually able to lead a group of people, to lead people, and still not lose who he is. Because as soon as you get around people, that starts to rub off. Who they are and stuff like that start to kind of rub off on you, and you become like. And so you can tell a man by the crowd or the people or whatever that he who he surrounds himself with. So that's kind of like that. So and then you start to develop, because we're so connected that we will start to kind of act and be like each other. And the thing is that when you develop spiritually and you're rooted, and you're focused and you're disciplined, that doesn't happen to you. Okay, so in this period that we're going through right now, being rooted, being focused to keep your frequency is very, very, very important. I hope this has really been of help to you, and I hope I didn't go over too much and blah, blah, blah. So I know people have this, issue with focusing and staying on something too long. So I'm hoping that I didn't bore you too much, and that I hope I covered all the stuff that I needed to cover, and I think I did. But anyway, so I'm gonna go get my walk right now, and I hope you all enjoy this, and I hope to see you guys again. Please just click like, subscribe. I'm gonna do more tapes and get more involved in this, and so please make a comment, interact with me. Let's learn more, and let's feed off of each other. There's a give and take, and this is what the energy is all about, right? Giving and taking. So thank you so much, and much love and much peace. Thank you. I love you.